Take a deep breath with me. Yes, just like that. You do not have to make it enormous. You do not have to fill your lungs until they feel uncomfortable. Just allow a gentle breath to come in through your nose and then let it leave you slowly. Now notice something. Your body already knows how to breathe. You did not have to give your lungs a lecture this morning. You did not have to remind your heart to beat. There is an intelligence within the body that has been caring for you every moment of your life, even during the times when you have been too busy, too frightened, or too exhausted to notice it. And I think that is wonderful. We spend so much time looking outside ourselves for something that will finally make us peaceful that we sometimes overlook the simple tools that are already here. Your breath is here. Your voice is here. Your ability to create a gentle vibration is here. There is a healing presence within me, and I am willing to listen. You do not have to command your body into peace. Perhaps you can begin by giving it conditions in which peace becomes a little easier. You see, the body is constantly communicating with us. Think about what happens when you become frightened or stressed. Often the breathing changes before you consciously decide to change it. It may become quicker, shallower, a little uneven. Perhaps you suddenly notice that you have been holding your breath while reading an upsetting message or thinking about tomorrow. Have you ever caught yourself doing that? Your shoulders rise, the jaw tightens, the breath seems to live only in the upper chest. The body is saying, something is happening, pay attention. And then we often become frightened of the very signals our body is sending us. We think, why can't I relax? What is wrong with me? Well, sweetheart, criticizing the body for being tense rarely teaches it relaxation. The body responds much more beautifully to kindness than to commands. And here is the lovely part. Breathing is not only something that reflects how you feel. The way you breathe can also become part of how you respond to what you feel. When you allow the breath to become slower and less hurried, you are giving the body a different experience. You are not saying there is absolutely nothing to worry about. You are simply saying, in this moment, I can soften a little. That is enough. Sometimes we make relaxation far too ambitious. We think we must go from anxiety to complete peace in 30 seconds. Oh, no. What if you simply moved from a 10 to a 9? What if the shoulders dropped 1/4 of an inch? What if one breath became easier than the one before it? A little softer, a little slower, a little safer? This is how we begin. Now I want to add something very simple to that breath. Close your lips gently, not tightly, and on the next exhale, make a soft sound. Try it. You do not need a beautiful voice. You are not singing for anyone. Nobody is grading you. Just hum gently as the air leaves your body. And notice, where do you feel it? Perhaps in your lips, perhaps around your nose, perhaps in your cheeks, your face, or somewhere inside your head. Isn't that interesting? This is one of those lovely experiences where sound becomes something you can actually feel. You are not only hearing the vibration, your body is participating in it. Do it again, but this time do not try to make the sound louder. Let it become easier. Take a comfortable breath in through the nose, and then, as you breathe out, just enough sound to notice the vibration. You may find that the exhale naturally becomes a little longer because you are sustaining the hum. You do not have to count. You do not have to force yourself to breathe perfectly. The sound gives the exhale somewhere to go. And that is what I like about simple practices. Instead of standing over yourself saying, calm down, which is usually not very calming, you give the body a small action it can actually do. Think about the difference. Calm down is an order. Humming is an experience. And the body learns through experience. Some people may notice the vibration most strongly in the face. Others barely notice it at first. That is all right. You do not have to create a dramatic sensation. Remember how often we think something is not working because it is subtle. We want fireworks. We want instant transformation. But so much healing is quiet. A slower exhale, a softer jaw, one less frightening thought, a little more space between a feeling and your reaction to it. Never underestimate the value of a small shift repeated with love. There is also an interesting physical effect associated with humming. Research has observed that humming can increase nitric oxide in the nasal passages. Now, that does not mean humming is some magical cure for every condition. And we do not need to turn a simple practice into an enormous promise. I prefer to let it be what it is. One gentle way of working with breath, sound, and vibration. Isn't that enough? We do not have to make every helpful thing miraculous before we allow ourselves to enjoy it. And I want you to notice something else. When you hum, you are using your own voice to create the vibration. There is something very intimate about that. So many of us have spent years hearing inner voices that criticize, hurry, frighten, and pressure us. You should be doing more. You're behind. Something is going to go wrong. Why can't you handle this? And now your own voice can become associated with something different. Not judgment, not urgency, a soothing vibration. Oh, I like that very much. Your own voice does not always have to be the voice that pushes you. It can become the voice that brings you home. So let us put the whole thing together. Very simply, sit in a way that feels comfortable for you. You do not have to sit perfectly straight like a statue. Let the body be supported. Notice your shoulders and allow them to drop if they want to. Unclench the jaw. Let the tongue rest. And before you change anything else, simply notice how you are breathing. That is important. We begin with awareness rather than correction. Now breathe gently through your nose. Do not pull in as much air as possible. More is not always better. Just take a comfortable breath. Then close the lips softly and allow the exhale to become Feel the vibration rather than trying to perform the sound. Then pause naturally. And again, a gentle breath in. That is all. How does your face feel? What about your jaw? What about your chest? Do you notice even the smallest difference? Perhaps you do. Perhaps you don't yet. Please do not turn this into another test you can fail. There is no prize for producing the longest hum. There is no prize for taking the deepest breath. The moment you begin straining, you have moved away from the purpose of the practice. A few gentle rounds may be enough. If your exhale wants to be short today, let it be short. If the vibration feels strange, become curious about the strangeness. New things often feel unfamiliar before they feel comforting. You do not have to force yourself to love the practice immediately. You can simply say, I am willing to discover what helps my body feel safe. And this is something I want you to remember beyond the humming itself. Your nervous system does not always need another argument. Sometimes it needs an experience of slowness. Your mind may still have questions. Your problem may not yet be solved. The person may not have called. The decision may still be waiting. Tomorrow may still contain uncertainty. But for these few moments, you can stop demanding that your body solve tomorrow. Right now, there is a chair beneath you. Right now, there is breath. Right now, there is sound. Right now, there is this moment. I do not have to solve everything in order to soften. Say that to yourself. And perhaps take one more easy breath in. Then let the sound leave slowly. You see, peace does not always arrive as a great spiritual revelation. Sometimes it enters through very ordinary doors. A breath, a vibration, a hand placed gently over the heart, a jaw released after you suddenly realize you have been clenching it for an hour. A moment in which you choose to stop fighting yourself. The body has been listening to you all along. Now perhaps you can begin listening to the body, not with fear, not with criticism, with curiosity, with tenderness, with the willingness to say, I am here, I am listening. We can slow down now. And that may be far more powerful than it seems. We'll continue gently, together, because now that you have felt what a simple hum can do inside the body, I want to show you something else. There is no single perfect way to breathe. Isn't that a relief? We have a habit of turning every helpful practice into another set of rules. We hear that breathing can help us relax and immediately begin wondering, am I doing it correctly? Am I breathing deeply enough? How many seconds should I inhale? How many rounds should I do? What if I cannot hold my breath for very long? And before we know it, the very thing that was supposed to help us soften has become another performance, another little test we can fail. So let us not do that. Your breath is not an examination you have to pass. It is a relationship you can begin to notice, explore, and gently work with. There are different rhythms you can use for different moments, and I like to think of them as possibilities rather than rigid prescriptions. One of the simplest is an even rhythm. Breathe in gently for a count of 4, then breathe out for a count of 4. That is all. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you breathe in, 1, 2, 3, 4, as you breathe out. You are not trying to fill yourself with as much air as physically possible. You are simply giving the breath a little structure. Try one round now if it feels comfortable. In, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. How does that feel? Perhaps very ordinary. Good. Ordinary can be healing. We do not always need dramatic sensations. Sometimes the body simply appreciates a rhythm it can predict. In and out, receiving and releasing, receiving and releasing. Life itself moves in rhythms, and your body understands rhythm beautifully. Perhaps you notice that when the inhale and exhale are even, your attention has something steady to rest on. The mind may still be thinking, of course. We are not trying to make the mind stop being a mind. But for a few moments, thought is no longer the only thing happening. There is counting, there is breath, there is sensation, there is you, here, now, participating in your own experience instead of being dragged entirely into the next frightening thought. Perhaps that balanced rhythm feels good to you, and perhaps there are other moments when a slightly longer exhale feels more soothing. You might breathe in comfortably for 3 or 4 counts and allow the exhale to take a little longer, perhaps 3 in and 5 out, perhaps 4 in and 6 out. There is no prize for reaching a certain number. I want you to remember that because people can become so ambitious with these practices. If 6 feels like strain, then 5 may be kinder. If 5 feels like strain, return to 4. The body does not relax because you defeated it. The body relaxes when it begins to sense that it no longer has to fight you. Slow-paced breathing in general can be associated with changes in heart rate variability related to autonomic regulation. And that is interesting. But you do not need to sit there thinking about heart rate variability while you breathe. Your body does not need a scientific lecture in the middle of a stressful afternoon. It needs an experience. Perhaps the experience is simply, I have a little more time to let this breath go. Think about that phrase for a moment. More time to let go. How often do we live the opposite way? We take things in all day long, messages, responsibilities, other people's moods, news, worries, expectations, errands, unfinished conversations, and then we give ourselves almost no time to release anything. We take in and take in and take in, and by evening, we wonder why we feel crowded inside. Your breath can become a tiny reminder that receiving and releasing belong together. You breathe something in, you let something out. You take in the day. You also need moments in which you release the day. Perhaps that is why the longer exhale can feel so meaningful for some people. You are not only breathing, symbolically, you are practicing the idea that you do not have to hold everything. Now, there is another breathing pattern you may know called box breathing. 4 counts in, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, then rest for 4. It has a simple shape to it, almost like drawing a square with the breath. In, hold, out, rest. Some people find this structure grounding because it gives the attention 4 clear places to go. And if that feels comfortable for you, wonderful. But if holding the breath makes you tense, dizzy, uncomfortable, or more anxious, then that is valuable information too. Do not override yourself because someone told you a technique is good. Listen to your body. I cannot emphasize that enough. A technique is supposed to serve you. You are not supposed to serve the technique. We have been taught to ignore ourselves in so many ways. We stay in relationships because we think we should. We eat according to rules while ignoring whether we are hungry or satisfied. We exercise through pain because we think more effort must always be better. We work when we are exhausted and then criticize ourselves for being tired. And we can bring exactly the same pattern into healing practices if we are not careful. We can turn breathing into another place where we say, my body is telling me no, but the rules say yes. No, darling. We are learning something different now. We are learning cooperation. If the balanced 4 and 4 rhythm feels good, use it. If a slightly longer exhale feels soothing, use that. If box breathing gives your mind something steady to follow, wonderful. And if today all you can do is notice one normal breath without changing anything, that counts too. Kindness is part of the practice. In fact, kindness may be the most important part because the nervous system is listening not only to the breath you take, but also to the attitude with which you take it. And now we can bring our humming back in. Remember what we discovered before. Sound first, thought second. I like this order because many of us try to think our way into calm while the body is still completely activated. We repeat, I am peaceful, I am peaceful, I am peaceful. While our jaw is clenched, our shoulders are high, our stomach is tight, and our breathing is hurried. Then part of us says, Well, clearly affirmations do not work. But perhaps the affirmation was not the problem. Perhaps we simply asked thought to do all the work while the body was still having another experience. So let the body participate. Take a comfortable breath in, and as you breathe out, allow a gentle Feel the vibration rather than trying to make a beautiful sound. Let it travel across the lips, the face, perhaps the nose, perhaps somewhere deeper inside the head. Then, when the hum ends and there is a natural little pause, say quietly, "I am safe in this moment." Notice that phrase, "in this moment." You do not have to promise yourself that nothing difficult will ever happen. You do not have to pretend that every part of your life is perfect. You are speaking only to this moment, this chair, this breath, this room, this minute. I am safe in this moment. Then breathe again and hum softly. When the sound ends, say, "I allow my body to soften." Another round, peace begins within me. Do you see what we are doing? We are not throwing positive words at a frightened body. We are pairing the new thought with an actual physical experience of slowing down. The exhale lengthens a little. The vibration gives attention somewhere gentle to rest. The jaw may loosen, the shoulders may drop. And then the mind receives a sentence that is a little more believable because the body is beginning to participate in it. That is very different from pretending. We are not pretending. We are practicing. Practice is how unfamiliar things become familiar. Remember the first time you drove a car? Perhaps everything demanded your attention at once. The mirrors, the pedals, the wheel, the road, the other cars. Eventually, much of it became natural. Your system learned. And your system can learn this too. Not perfect peace, but familiarity with softening, familiarity with pausing, familiarity with hearing your own voice say something kind after years of hearing it say, "Hurry up, you're behind. What is wrong with you?" A little kindness repeated can become a very different internal atmosphere. People sometimes use words like coherence when speaking about breathing, heart rhythm, and the nervous system, and the word can sound mysterious. We do not need to make it mysterious. Your breathing and your heartbeat are related through the activity of your autonomic nervous system, and breathing can influence the changing intervals between heartbeats. But perhaps we can also understand coherence in a simple human way. It is a moment in which fewer things inside you are pulling in opposite directions. Your breath is here. Your attention is here. Your body is here. Your mind, at least for a few seconds, is more here than it was before. Instead of your body sitting in one room while your mind lives in tomorrow and your fear lives 10 years in the past, more of you arrives in the same place. Isn't that lovely? And if you enjoy spiritual language, perhaps you experience this as coming back into harmony with life, not because you have become some perfectly balanced spiritual being, not because the universe will never challenge you again, simply because for a moment you have stopped arguing with yourself. You are breathing with yourself rather than against yourself. I am willing to come back into harmony with life. How does that feel? Perhaps that language feels beautiful to you. Perhaps it does not. Then use something simpler. I am here now. That is enough. You never have to use an affirmation that feels artificial. Choose words that your body can receive. Sometimes a statement is too far away from what you currently believe, and the kinder statement is not, "Everything is perfect." The kinder statement may be, "I am willing to soften a little," or I am willing to feel safer than I did 1 minute ago. Or, I am open to the possibility that my body can learn another rhythm. There is so much power in willingness, because willingness does not demand that you leap across the whole distance today. And speaking of demands, please do not use breath work as another way to bully yourself. There will be days when you sit down, breathe slowly, hum for a while, repeat a kind thought, and still feel anxious. What then? Do you say, I failed? Do you breathe harder? Do you force the exhale to become longer? Do you keep going because you are determined to calm down immediately? No. Sweetheart, that is not relaxation. That is struggle wearing the clothes of relaxation. I do not force relaxation. I create space for it. Say that again. I do not force relaxation. I create space for it. Your body may soften today, or it may soften just a little. Or perhaps the only change is that for 3 minutes you stopped criticizing yourself for being tense. That matters. You do not need to take the deepest possible breath. More air is not automatically better. A very deep forced breath may feel uncomfortable for some people. Longer is not automatically better. More intense is not automatically more healing. Sometimes the most supportive breath is remarkably ordinary. And if you become dizzy, lightheaded, breathless, panicky, or uncomfortable, stop controlling the rhythm and return to normal breathing. Open your eyes. Feel your feet. Notice the chair supporting you. Look at the room. Let your body find its own pace again. Listening is not quitting. Listening is cooperation. We also do not want to chase special sensations. Perhaps one day the humming makes you feel extraordinarily peaceful, wonderful. Then the next day you sit down saying, I want exactly what happened yesterday. You begin trying harder, humming longer, breathing more deeply, and the peaceful feeling refuses to appear. Why? Because yesterday you were exploring. Today you are demanding. So let every practice be new. Ask, what happens today? Maybe the vibration feels strong. Maybe the breath feels easy. Maybe you discover frustration. Maybe nothing obvious changes. Be curious. Curiosity is much gentler than expectation. Now, I want to give you a very simple 3-minute practice because I love things that can actually fit into life. If I tell you that you need a completely silent room, candles, special clothing, 45 minutes, perfect posture, and the ideal emotional state, how often will you do it? Probably not often. But 3 minutes can happen almost anywhere. You can use this before a difficult conversation, before sleep, after reading something upsetting, while sitting in your parked car, after everyone in the house has finally become quiet, or simply when you suddenly realize, oh, I have been holding myself very tightly all day. The first minute is for listening. Do nothing. Yes, nothing. Sit in a comfortable way and notice your breathing as it already is. Is it quick, slow, shallow, uneven? Are you holding it? Is your jaw tight? Are your shoulders raised? Do not rush in to correct anything. This is the part many people skip because we are so eager to improve ourselves. We notice something and immediately say, fix it. But awareness can come before correction. Simply say, I am listening. The second minute is for sound. Take an easy breath through the nose and let the exhale become a soft Again, breathe comfortably and hum. Let the vibration be pleasant rather than impressive. Perhaps 4 rounds fit into the minute, perhaps fewer. You do not need to count obsessively. And after 1 or 2 of those hums, if you want, add a small thought, I am safe in this moment, or my body is allowed to soften. Then comes the 3rd minute, silence. This part matters. Do not immediately pick up the phone. Do not instantly evaluate whether the practice worked. Sit quietly and allow the breath to return to whatever rhythm it naturally chooses. Then ask, not am I completely calm, but is anything different? Maybe the forehead feels softer. Maybe your hands are warmer. Maybe your breathing feels less stuck. Maybe the thoughts are still there but feel slightly less urgent. Maybe you suddenly become aware of how tired you are. That is useful information too. And perhaps nothing obvious has changed. All right. 3 minutes of nonviolence toward yourself is still 3 beautiful minutes. You see, this is where we often misunderstand progress. We measure everything by the final result. Did my anxiety disappear? Did I become completely peaceful? Did I stop worrying? And if the answer is no, we dismiss all the smaller changes that are actually teaching us something. But what if the early signs are quieter? You notice stress sooner. That is progress. You realize your shoulders are tense before they ache. That is progress. You catch yourself holding your breath and allow it to move again. That is progress. Something upsetting happens at 10 in the morning, but instead of carrying the same level of activation until midnight, you return to yourself at 11. Oh, that is progress. The goal is not to become a person who never experiences stress. The goal is to become a person who knows the way home. Think about that. A storm comes and you know the way home. Someone disappoints you and you know the way home. The future suddenly feels uncertain and you know the way home. You wake in the middle of the night and the mind wants to solve your entire life before sunrise. And somewhere inside you, there is a small memory. Breathe, soften, listen, return. Perhaps home begins with 1 breath. Perhaps it begins with 1 hum. Perhaps it begins with placing both feet on the floor and feeling that the earth is still holding you. And the more often you practice returning when the stress is small, the more familiar that path becomes when stress is larger. We do not have to wait until everything is unbearable before we practice. Let your body learn the road when the road is easy to see. It is like visiting a place in daylight several times, so that if you ever need to find it after dark, something in you remembers the way. And perhaps there is something especially beautiful about using your own voice for this. Think of all the jobs your voice has had throughout your life. It has explained, apologized, answered questions, taken care of people, solved problems, said yes when you wanted to say no, kept the peace, reassured children, comforted friends, asked for help, defended itself. And inside your mind, that same voice may also have hurried and criticized you. Come on, get over it. You should be better by now. Why can't you handle this? What is wrong with you? How does the body feel when it hears that tone day after day? And now we are giving your own voice another job. Comfort. Reassurance. I am safe in this moment. Permission. I allow my body to soften. Companionship. I am here with you. Your voice can become something your body begins to recognize as kind. Perhaps not instantly. We do not need instant. A little bit more today, a little bit more tomorrow, a little bit more next week. You do not have to wait until you are anxious to practice this either. Hum gently while making tea. Hum for 2 breaths in the shower. Sit in your parked car and make one soft vibration before walking into the house. Let your body associate the sound not only with crisis, but with ordinary safety. That word ordinary matters. Healing does not happen only in dramatic spiritual moments. It happens at kitchen sinks. It happens while folding laundry. It happens when you notice that you have been gripping the steering wheel and loosen your fingers. It happens when you are answering emails and suddenly realize you have not exhaled fully in 10 minutes. There you are, another moment to return. No equipment, no special room, no one else has to agree. You carry the instrument with you, your breath, your voice, your awareness. What a gift. Now, does a little humming solve every difficulty in life? Of course not. We do not need to make ridiculous promises. If a relationship needs a boundary, breathing will not speak that boundary for you. If a situation needs action, humming does not replace action. If you need medical or mental health care, a breathing practice does not replace appropriate support. But perhaps it can offer something smaller and extremely useful, a little more space from which to respond. And sometimes that space changes what you do next. When your body is not shouting quite so loudly, perhaps you can hear your own wisdom more clearly. You can ask, what do I actually need? Is this truly urgent? Do I have to answer this message now? Would tomorrow morning be a better time? Is this fear about what is happening or about what I imagine might happen? What would kindness look like here? There it is again, kindness. We keep coming back to it because your nervous system is not separate from the way you treat yourself. So before we finish, let us take one more gentle round together. Let the jaw soften if it wants to. Allow the shoulders to drop if they are ready. Take one comfortable breath in and hum softly. Then say, my breath brings me home to myself. Another breath. Then, my voice carries gentleness through my body. Again. And I allow peace to begin from within. One more easy round. And then, I am learning the rhythm that feels good to me. Notice that last sentence. The rhythm that feels good to me. Not somebody else's rhythm. Not the perfect rhythm. Yours. Your relationship with your body becomes much more loving when you stop treating it like a machine that should respond identically every day. Some days 4 counts will feel good. Some days you will not want to count at all. Some days humming will feel wonderful. Some days silence will be better. Some days you may need movement instead of sitting still. Listen. Adjust. Respond. That is what we do in a loving relationship. And perhaps tomorrow, when you suddenly notice yourself becoming hurried inside, you will remember this. You will not need to say, oh no, I am anxious again. I thought I had fixed this. You can simply say, my body is asking for me. Then breathe, hum, listen. Return. My breath brings me home to myself. My voice carries gentleness through my body. I allow peace to begin from within. I am learning the rhythm that feels good to me. The point is not that one magical sound can repair your entire life. We do not need magic tricks. We need small practices that remind us of what is already available. Sometimes one soft vibration is enough to interrupt an hour of rushing. Sometimes one longer exhale is enough to help you notice that your shoulders have been preparing for a danger that is not actually present in the room. Sometimes one compassionate sentence changes the tone of the next 5 minutes. And then there are another 5 minutes, and another, a little softer, a little slower, a little kinder, until one day you notice that stress still comes, but you do not automatically become stress. Fear still visits, but you know how to sit beside yourself while it moves. Your body still protects you, but it does not have to live every minute as though there were an emergency. That is what we are teaching it. Not that the world contains no uncertainty, not that nothing difficult will ever happen, but that every moment is not an emergency. And perhaps your own breath, your own vibration, and your own loving voice can begin reminding your body of that truth again and again, until returning to yourself becomes a rhythm you know. Let me tell you something very tender, my dear. Many people spend their whole lives chasing more, not because they are greedy, not because they are ungrateful, not because they are selfish, but because somewhere deep inside, they are trying to feel safe. More money, more love, more approval, more achievement, more attention, more evidence that they are good enough, more signs that life has not forgotten them. And yet, even when more arrives, the mind often says, yes, but what about the next thing? So the heart never rests. The body never fully exhales. The soul keeps running, 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 trying to arrive at a place called enough. But, my dear, more is not always the answer. Sometimes peace begins with less. Perhaps you know this feeling. You accomplish something, and instead of celebrating, the mind immediately asks, what now? You receive a compliment, and a part of you cannot fully let it in. You make progress, and still you compare yourself to someone ahead. You earn something, buy something, prove something, fix something, finish something, and yet inside, there is still a little voice whispering, is this enough? Am I enough? That voice is not your true self. It is an old hunger. It is a belief that says, I must keep proving my worth, or I will be forgotten. Today, we are going to speak to that voice with love. I no longer chase life to prove my worth. The hunger for more often begins with a simple wound. I am not enough as I am. If you learn that love had to be earned, then more becomes a way to earn safety. If you learn that rest was laziness, then more becomes a way to feel acceptable. If you learn that being ordinary was not allowed, then more becomes a way to escape shame. If you learn that attention could disappear, then more becomes a way to hold on. But the pain is not healed by endlessly feeding it outer things. A hungry heart needs more than another goal. It needs tenderness. It needs safety. It needs to hear, you are enough now, before the next thing arrives. This does not mean you should not desire beautiful things. Desire can be sacred. Growth can be joyful. Creating, improving, building, learning, receiving, earning, loving, expanding. These are all wonderful when they come from aliveness. But there is a great difference between creating from love and chasing from fear. Love says, I enjoy growing. Fear says, I must grow, or I am nothing. Love says, I welcome good. Fear says, I need more to feel real. Love says, I am already worthy, and I allow life to expand. Fear says, I must prove I deserve to exist. I can desire more without believing I am less. The mind of scarcity does not know how to rest. it always finds another hill to climb before it will allow peace. It says, I will relax after I make more money. Then the money comes, and it says, now I need more security. It says, I will feel loved when someone chooses me. Then someone comes close, and it says, but what if they leave? It says, I will feel enough when I succeed. Then success comes, and it says, but someone else is doing better. This is why we must gently interrupt the old program. Peace cannot be postponed forever. I am allowed to feel enough before everything is finished. Sometimes what we call wanting more is really a cry for inner safety. You may not only want more money, you may want to stop feeling afraid. You may not only want more love, you may want to stop feeling abandoned. You may not only want more recognition, you may want to stop feeling invisible. You may not only want more achievement, you may want to stop feeling ashamed of where you are. When we understand this, we become kinder to ourselves. We stop saying, why am I never satisfied? And begin asking, what part of me is asking to feel safe now? Place your hand on your heart for a moment. Breathe in slowly and say, I am safe to stop running for one breath. Let the body hear that. Again, I am safe to stop running for one breath. You do not have to stop dreaming. You do not have to stop growing. You are simply letting the nervous system know that your worth is not an emergency. Your life is not a race against everyone else. You are not behind your soul's timing. I am enough in this moment, and life can still become more beautiful. This is where the beauty of less begins. Less noise, less comparison, less pressure, less emotional shopping, less saying yes when your heart wants to say no, less proving, less explaining, less abandoning yourself to be approved of, less filling every empty space with stimulation because silence feels uncomfortable. When you remove what drains you, something holy returns. Space, breath, clarity, peace. The simple feeling of being with yourself without needing to become someone else immediately. I release what drains me. I make room for what nourishes me. Less is not always loss. Sometimes less is freedom. Less clutter may mean your home can breathe again. Less scrolling may mean your mind becomes your own again. Less comparison may mean your gifts begin to feel beautiful again. Less overgiving may mean your body learns that it matters too. Less chasing may mean your heart finally remembers that love is not something you have to beg for. Less is not emptiness. Less can be the space where peace returns. Think of a garden. If it is crowded with weeds, old roots, broken branches, and too many things fighting for sunlight, the flowers cannot easily grow. Removing is not cruelty to the garden. Removing is care. Your life is the same. You may need to remove some noise, some old obligations, some habits, some purchases, some conversations, some inner criticism, not because life should be small, but because your energy is sacred. I make space for what truly supports my soul. Now, stopping the chase does not mean giving up your dreams. Please hear that clearly. You can have dreams. You can create. You can build. You can welcome abundance, love, healing, beauty, and success. But you no longer have to chase them from panic. You no longer have to trade your soul for approval. You no longer have to burn your body out to prove that you are worthy. You can create from peace. You can take action from self-love. You can move toward good while still being kind to yourself today. I allow my good to come to me in peaceful and healthy ways. When you chase from lack, your energy contracts. You become hurried, anxious, comparing, checking, forcing, pushing, and exhausting yourself. Even when you move forward, you do not enjoy the journey because the whole journey feels like a test of your worth. But when you create from peace, your energy expands. You still take steps, but your steps are guided. You still work, but you do not abandon yourself. You still desire, but you do not worship the desire as if it alone can make you whole. I can move toward my dreams without leaving myself behind. You do not need to force life to open with panic. You do not need to pound on every door until your hands ache. You can knock with clarity. You can prepare with love. You can listen for the right timing. You can walk away from what costs your peace. You can trust that what belongs to you does not require you to become empty, desperate, or cruel to yourself. My good can find me while I am living in peace. So today, my dear, begin with less. Less rushing in your breath, less violence in your self-talk, less urgency in your body, less comparing your chapter to someone else's. Take one slow breath and say, I am enough now. Say, I do not need more to prove my worth. Say, I welcome good from a place of peace. There is a softer way to live. There is a kinder way to grow. There is a beautiful life that begins not when you finally have everything, but when you stop fighting yourself long enough to feel enough now. Can you feel that shift, even a little? That quiet place inside you that begins to whisper, maybe I do not have to run so hard. Maybe I do not have to prove so much. Maybe I do not have to keep reaching for the next thing before I have even received the beauty of this moment. My dear, this is where peace begins. Not when every desire has been fulfilled. Not when every person approves of you. Not when the bank account, the relationship, the body, the home, and the future all look perfect. Peace begins in the sacred moment when you stop long enough to notice what is already here. I am grateful for the good that is already here. When you stop running, even for one breath, you begin to see the things you have been walking past, the body that has carried you through so many seasons, the breath that keeps returning without being asked, the roof, the meal, the morning light, the cup in your hand, the bed that receives you at night, the one person who cares, the one chance to begin again, the one small possibility still open. These things may have seemed ordinary because the mind was busy chasing something bigger. But when the heart softens, the ordinary becomes holy again. What I once called ordinary may be one of my quiet blessings. Gratitude does not mean you stop wanting. It does not mean you deny your dreams. It does not mean you pretend everything is already perfect. Gratitude simply brings you back to the frequency of enough before the new thing arrives. It says, I can appreciate what is here and still welcome what is coming. It says, I do not have to live in lack while I grow. It says, I can desire more from fullness, not from emptiness. This is such a healing difference. I can be grateful now and still allow life to expand. Ask yourself gently, perhaps tonight before you sleep, what in my life is already a blessing that I have been treating as normal? Is it your ability to read these words? Is it your breath? Is it the fact that you survived something you once thought would break you? Is it the small strength that keeps returning? Is it a friendship, a warm drink, a quiet room, a song? A lesson? A chance to choose again? Let the mind look for evidence of support instead of evidence of lack. My mind learns abundance when I notice the good that is already here. Now we come to something very tender. Less ego, more soul. The ego often wants more because it wants to be seen. It says, if I have more, they will respect me. If I achieve more, they will admire me. If I look more impressive, they will not reject me. If I explain myself enough, they will understand me. If I please everyone, I will not be abandoned. The ego is not evil. It is often frightened. It is trying to protect the wound of not feeling enough. But the soul does not need so much noise. The soul often asks for less. Less proving, less performing, less pretending, less pressure, more truth, more peace, more breath, more presence. I am enough, even when I am not performing. What would happen if you stopped trying to impress people who are not even listening with love? What would happen if you explained yourself less to those committed to misunderstanding you? What would happen if you stopped carrying roles that no longer fit the person you are becoming? The role of the strong one who never needs anything. The role of the easy one who never says no. The role of the achiever who must always be excellent. The role of the healer who is never allowed to be tired. The role of the pleasant one who smiles while the heart is breaking. I release the roles that no longer honor my soul. When you no longer need to prove your worth, you get so much energy back. Energy to create, energy to rest, energy to love honestly, energy to heal, energy to listen to your own body, energy to notice beauty, energy to make choices from truth instead of performance. You begin to realize how much of your exhaustion came not from living, but from performing life for an invisible audience. My dear, you do not have to be impressive to be lovable. You do not have to be constantly productive to be valuable. You do not have to explain every part of yourself to deserve peace. I am worthy without the performance. Less ego, more soul may look very simple. It may look like wearing what feels comfortable instead of what proves something. It may look like saying, I do not know, instead of pretending to have it all figured out. It may look like resting without making a public announcement. It may look like creating something because it brings you joy, not because it will be applauded. It may look like walking away from a conversation where your heart has to shrink. My soul is not here to perform. My soul is here to live. And now, let us speak of clearing space. Sometimes the outer room reflects the inner mind. A room filled with too many things can feel like a mind filled with too many burdens. Old papers, old clothes, objects connected to old versions of yourself, gifts you never liked, things kept out of guilt, things bought from emotion, things that no longer serve love. These can quietly hold energy. They can whisper, you do not have space. You cannot breathe. You are carrying too much. Clearing is not just about tidiness. It is an act of self-respect. As I clear my space, I clear my energy. You do not have to clean your whole life in one day. Please do not turn simplicity into another pressure. Choose one corner, one drawer, one table, one shelf. Hold one item and ask, does this still serve love in my life? Not, was this expensive? Not, will someone judge me if I release it? Not, what if I need it someday out of fear? Ask, Does this support the life I am choosing now? Some things will stay. Some things will go. Some things will be thanked and released. I deserve space to breathe. When you clear a drawer, you tell the subconscious mind, I am making room. When you let go of what drains you, you say, my energy matters. When you create a clean surface, you give the mind a place to rest. This is not superficial. The body feels it. The mind sees it. The heart begins to understand that you are no longer available to drown in clutter, pressure, and old attachment. I make room for peace in my home and in my heart. Sometimes clearing space brings up emotion. You may find an object connected to an old relationship, an old dream, an old grief, an old identity. Do not rush. Hold it gently. Say, thank you for what you represented. Then ask whether it still belongs in your life. You are allowed to release what once mattered. Releasing does not mean it was meaningless. It means its season may be complete. I bless what has served me, and I release what no longer nourishes me. Now let us speak about comparison, because comparison is one of the loudest forms of more. More like them, more ahead, more beautiful, more successful, more loved, more visible, more certain. Comparison tells you that someone else's life is the measuring stick for your worth. And if you believe it, you will spend your precious energy trying to bloom in someone else's season. But every soul has its own rhythm. Some flowers bloom early, some bloom slowly, some bloom after long winters, some grow deep roots before they show color. I bless the path of others, and I honor the timing of my own life. Less comparison means more self-trust. It means you can look at someone else's beauty without deciding you are ugly. You can celebrate someone else's success without deciding you are late. You can witness someone else's love without deciding you are forgotten. You can admire another person's path without abandoning your own. What is meant for another soul does not cancel what is meant for you. Another person's bloom is not a threat to my garden. When comparison rises, do not shame yourself. It is often a sign that the heart is longing. Ask, what desire is this showing me? Perhaps someone's peaceful home reveals your desire for simplicity. Perhaps someone's success reveals your desire to create. Perhaps someone's relationship reveals your desire for honest connection. Let comparison become information, not punishment. What I admire can guide me without making me feel less. And perhaps the most important comparison to release is comparison with the version of yourself you think you should already be. You may say, I should be farther by now. I should be healed by now. I should have more money by now. I should have figured this out by now. My dear, should is often a whip. It rarely heals. What if you softened that sentence? What if you said, I am where I am, and I can love myself here. From that love, growth becomes easier. Now we clear the mind as well, because not only objects need clearing, thoughts also need clearing. Some thoughts are like old furniture in the mind. They take up space, collect dust, and block the light. I am not enough. Something will go wrong. I should have known better. They are ahead of me. I must control everything. I cannot rest. These thoughts may feel familiar, but familiar does not mean true. I choose one peaceful thought at a time. Do not fight every negative thought. That gives it too much importance. Notice it. Breathe. Choose again. If the thought says, I am behind, choose. I honor my own timing. If it says, I need to prove myself, choose, I am enough, even when I am not performing. If it says, I must have more to be safe, choose, I am safe to appreciate what is here and welcome what is coming. If it says, I cannot stop, choose, I am allowed to rest without losing my worth. This is mental simplicity. Less arguing with yourself, less replaying the past, less rehearsing disaster, less trying to control the future in your head before it arrives. More breath, more trust, more self-kindness, more present moment. My mind becomes peaceful when I stop feeding every fear. Sometimes the mind believes worry is responsibility. It says, if I worry enough, I will be prepared. But worry often drains the energy you need for wise action. Peace does not make you careless. Peace makes you clearer. When the mind is less cluttered, you can hear intuition. You can sense what matters. You can choose the next step. A peaceful mind is not empty. It is clear enough to receive wisdom. So what do we gain when we stop chasing more? We gain time. We gain breath. We gain sleep. We gain softness in the body. We gain clarity. We gain creative energy. We gain the ability to enjoy a simple meal, a quiet morning, a clean corner, a true conversation, a deep breath, a small success, a moment of rest. We gain the life we were too busy to notice. When I stop chasing more, I discover the richness of enough. We gain our attention back. We stop giving it to every comparison, every advertisement, every old fear, every social expectation, every inner critic. We begin to spend attention like something sacred. We ask, does this nourish me? Does this matter? Does this align with the life I want to live? And if it does not, we bless it and release it. My attention belongs to what supports my peace. We gain sleep because the mind is not constantly racing to prove, fix, chase, and compare. We gain breath because the body is no longer living as though life is one long emergency. We gain creativity because the soul finally has space to speak. We gain self-trust because we are no longer abandoning ourselves for every demand. We gain the ability to be happy in small places. And this, my dear, is a great wealth. A simple, peaceful life can be deeply abundant. We also gain ourselves back. Not the polished version, not the performing version, not the version trying to be everything to everyone. The real self, the quiet self, the self who loves beauty, rest, truth, kindness, meaning, and ease. The self who does not need to be bigger to be worthy. The self who can say, I have enough, I do enough, I am enough. Less is not empty. Less is sacred space. Less noise can become more intuition. Less clutter can become more breath. Less comparison can become more self-trust. Less proving can become more peace. Less chasing can become more receiving. Less pressure can become more joy. Less pretending can become more truth. There is beauty in less because less makes room for what truly matters. My dear, you do not need a louder life to feel valuable. You do not need more things, more applause, more pressure, more approval, more noise, more speed, or more performance to prove that you belong here. You are allowed to choose simplicity. You are allowed to choose a slower rhythm. You are allowed to choose a cleaner space. You are allowed to choose lighter relationships. You are allowed to choose gentler thoughts. I am allowed to live a life that feels peaceful to my soul. And if people do not understand your less, that is all right. Some people are still addicted to more drama, more busyness, more noise, more status, more proving. You do not need to convince them. Your peace is your answer. Your softer body is your answer. Your clearer mind is your answer. Your deeper sleep is your answer. Your kinder heart is your answer. I do not need to justify the peace I choose. So today, choose one less criticism, one less unnecessary yes, one less scroll that makes you compare, one less object you keep out of guilt, one less story that says you are behind, one less attempt to prove your worth. And choose one more of what nourishes you, one more breath, one more thank you, one more kind sentence, one more clear boundary, one more moment of being present with the life you already have. I release what drains me and welcome what restores me. Now, place your hand on your heart and say softly, I have enough. Breathe, I do enough. Breathe, I am enough. Let the words move through the body. Say, life supports me in simple and beautiful ways. Again, life supports me in simple and beautiful ways. You do not have to force yourself to believe it all at once. Just let the words enter like sunlight through a small window. All is well, my dear. There is beauty in less. There is peace in enough. There is richness in the simple breath you are taking now. You are not behind. You are not empty. You are not incomplete. You are allowed to grow from fullness, not from fear. You are allowed to welcome more without rejecting what is already here. You are allowed to live simply, love deeply, breathe freely, and trust that your worth was never waiting in the next thing. Before you leave, my dear, take one more quiet moment with me. Do not rush back into the noise yet. Place one hand over your heart. Let your shoulders soften and breathe as though you are finally allowed to stop proving. Let these words meet the part of you that has been chasing, comparing, worrying, and wondering whether you are enough. Say softly within yourself, I am enough now. I do not need to become louder, busier, richer, thinner, more impressive, or more approved of before I can love myself. I am allowed to feel enough in this very moment. I welcome growth, but I do not grow from self-rejection anymore. I grow from love. I grow from peace. I grow because life within me is always expanding beautifully. I release the need to chase more in order to prove my worth. My worth is not waiting in the next achievement. My worth is not hidden inside someone else's approval. My worth is not measured by comparison. I was born worthy. I am worthy while resting. I am worthy while learning. I am worthy while healing. I am worthy before the next thing arrives. I am grateful for the good that is already here. I bless my breath. I bless my body. I bless the home that shelters me. I bless the food that nourishes me. I bless every small kindness, every lesson, every new beginning, every quiet sign that life is still supporting me. I notice the ordinary miracles I once passed by. I release what drains me. I make room for what nourishes me. I release clutter in my space, clutter in my thoughts, clutter in my relationships, and clutter in my spirit. I do not need to carry what no longer belongs to my peace. I am allowed to choose simplicity. I am allowed to choose a slower rhythm. I am allowed to choose a life that feels honest to my soul. I bless the path of others, and I honor the timing of my own life. I do not need to compare my season to anyone else's. I am blooming in my own way, in my own rhythm, in my own sacred timing. Another person's light does not take away mine. I choose one peaceful thought at a time. I do not need to solve everything today. I do not need to become perfect today. I only need to return to love, one breath at a time. And now, say this with me. I have enough. I do enough. I am enough. Life supports me in simple and beautiful ways. All is well. There is beauty in less. There is peace in enough. And so it is. Say it out loud with me, my dear. I decide to be me. Say it slowly, not as a performance, not as a little phrase you repeat and forget, but as a declaration of coming home. I decide to be me. Feel what happens in the body when you say those words. Perhaps the shoulders soften. Perhaps the chest opens. Perhaps a part of you feels frightened, because for so long you may have been trained to ask permission before you existed fully. Permission from family, permission from society, permission from a relationship, permission from success, permission from beauty standards, permission from the past, permission from the fearful little voice inside that says, be careful, do not be too much, do not be too honest, do not be too different. But today, you begin again. Today you say, I decide to be me, and I approve of myself exactly as I am. There is a great freedom that comes when you stop trying to become the version of yourself that is easiest for others to accept. Perhaps you have spent years adjusting your voice, your dreams, your emotions, your personality, your needs, your laughter, your softness, your strength, your brightness, just to belong somewhere. Perhaps you learned to become smaller because someone was uncomfortable with your fullness. Perhaps you learned to be agreeable because conflict frightened you. Perhaps you learned to be perfect because criticism hurt too much. Perhaps you learned to hide your true feelings because love once felt conditional. My dear, none of this means you failed. It means you adapted. And now you are allowed to choose again. I no longer shrink my truth to fit places that cannot hold my wholeness. To decide to be yourself is to take back the power of choice. It is a sacred inner decision. It says, I no longer wait for the world to approve of my existence. It says, I do not need to play a role to be lovable. It says, I do not need to betray my heart to belong. It says, I do not need to hide my real self in order to feel safe. This does not mean you become careless with others. It does not mean you speak without kindness or live without awareness. It means you stop living as a false version of yourself in exchange for temporary approval. I no longer hide myself to be loved. I choose to be real. Ask yourself gently, who am I when I am not afraid of being judged? That is a beautiful question. Do not rush to answer it. Let it sit in the heart. Who are you when you are not trying to impress? Who are you when you are not trying to avoid criticism? Who are you when you are not performing strength, happiness, success, spirituality, perfection, or calm? Who are you when you are simply allowed to be human? Perhaps you are softer than you let people see. Perhaps you are more creative. Perhaps you are tired. Perhaps you are funny. Perhaps you are sensitive. Perhaps you are powerful. Perhaps you are still discovering yourself. The real me is allowed to unfold one honest breath at a time. Now, releasing the mask does not mean exposing everything to everyone. This is important. Being real does not mean you hand your inner life to unsafe people. It does not mean you confess every wound to those who cannot hold it with care. It means you stop being fake with yourself. It means you no longer live as though your pain, your needs, your boundaries, or your dreams are shameful. The mask may have looked like always being fine, always smiling so others would not feel uncomfortable, always being strong while your heart was aching, always looking perfect to avoid judgment, always pleasing people so they would not leave. But darling, you are allowed to have strengths and still have wounds. You are allowed to have made mistakes and still be worthy of love. You are allowed to be unfinished and still be whole. I can be real and still be loved. And now we come to self-approval, one of the deepest healing practices. Many people believe, when I become better, then I will approve of myself. When I lose the weight, then I will love my body. When I succeed, then I will respect myself. When I stop making mistakes, then I will be kind to myself. But healing often works in the opposite direction. When you begin to approve of yourself, you create the energy that allows true change to happen. Self-criticism may create pressure, but pressure is not the same as transformation. Pressure makes the body contract. Love gives the body room to grow. I approve of myself as I am, and from this love, I grow. Self-approval does not say, I never need to change. It says, I am learning, and I am still worthy. It says, I am growing, and I am still lovable. It says, I can see my patterns without hating myself for having them. It says, I can improve my life without treating myself like an enemy. This is the ground where healing becomes possible. If you plant a seed in harsh, dry soil and shout at it to grow, it will not thrive. But if you give it light, water, patience, and care, it opens naturally. You are not so different from that seed. I do not need self-hatred to become a better version of myself. To approve of yourself as you are means you stop making war with this moment. You accept the body you have today, even if you are learning to care for it differently. You accept the mind you have today, even if you are choosing new thoughts. You accept the past that has happened, not because you love every part of it, but because fighting reality drains the energy you need for healing. You accept the patterns you are beginning to notice. You accept the wounded places that still need tenderness. Acceptance does not freeze you. Acceptance frees energy. The energy you once used to hate yourself can now be used to heal, learn, choose better, and create new habits. When I stop fighting myself, I have more energy to become myself. And what about negative thoughts? Many people become ashamed the moment a negative thought appears. They think, oh no, I should not think this. I am failing. I am not healed. But a negative thought is not always an enemy. Sometimes it is a map. It shows you where an old belief still lives. It shows you where a wound is asking for care. It shows you which memory is still influencing your choices. It shows you which inner sentence is ready to be replaced. Every negative thought can become a map back to healing. If the thought says, I am not enough, do not immediately believe it. Pause and ask, where did I learn this? If the thought says, I cannot do it, ask, is this truth or is this old fear? If the thought says, no one will accept me, ask, who made me feel that being myself was unsafe? This is how you stop being hypnotized by the mind. You become the loving observer. You write the thought down. On paper, it loses some of its power. In the head, it may sound like a command. On the page, it becomes a sentence you can question. I am not every thought that passes through me. I am the awareness that can choose again. Try this simple practice. Write down the negative thought exactly as it appears. I am not good enough. I always fail. People will not accept the real me. Then ask, where did this come from? Let the answer come honestly. Perhaps it came from childhood, perhaps from comparison, perhaps from a relationship, perhaps from criticism. Then ask, is this still true for the person I am today? And finally, write a healing sentence. I am not good enough becomes, I am learning to see my own worth. I always fail becomes, I am allowed to learn, grow, and begin again. People will not accept me becomes, the right people can meet the real me with love. My dear, deciding to be yourself is not a one-time moment. It is a daily return. Each morning, each conversation, each choice, each time fear asks you to wear the old mask, you can return and say, I decide to be me. You can approve of yourself while you are still learning. You can be honest without being harsh. You can grow without self-rejection. You can see your negative thoughts not as proof that you are broken, but as little arrows pointing toward the next place that wants love. I decide to be me, and I approve of myself exactly as I am. Let that be the beginning of a new relationship with yourself. Let that be the door opening. Let that be the place where you stop asking the world for permission and begin living from the quiet, beautiful truth within you. I want to share something I realized after many years of listening to people speak about the parts of themselves they disliked most. Very often, the thing you hate in yourself is not the real you. It is an old pattern that once helped you survive. It is a strategy that was created when you did not yet know how to feel safe, how to ask for love, how to speak your truth, how to protect your heart, or how to belong without disappearing. So, before you condemn yourself for people-pleasing, control, procrastination, silence, self-criticism, hiding, or fear, pause for a moment and ask a kinder question. What was this pattern trying to protect in me? This question changes everything. It moves you from shame into understanding. It helps you see that you are not broken. You are someone who learned certain ways to survive, and now you are learning healthier ways to live. Perhaps you learned to please people because telling the truth once felt dangerous. Perhaps as a child, you noticed that if you were agreeable, quiet, helpful, smiling, and easy, people were less angry. So your nervous system learned, if I make everyone comfortable, maybe I will be safe. That pattern may have protected you then, but now it may drain your energy. Perhaps you learned to control everything because once something painful happened when you felt powerless. Control became your way of saying, never again. It may have given you a sense of safety then, but now it may keep you tense, exhausted, and unable to trust life. Perhaps you procrastinate not because you are lazy, but because being judged once felt unbearable. If you never begin, no one can criticize the finished thing. Perhaps you became silent because sharing feelings once led to humiliation, rejection, or being misunderstood. My old patterns are not my true identity. They are old protections asking to be healed. When we begin to understand our patterns, we do not excuse every behavior. We simply stop attacking ourselves long enough to change. A pattern may be harmful now, but the need beneath it is often innocent. Beneath people-pleasing may be the need for love and belonging. Beneath control may be the need for safety. Beneath procrastination may be the need for protection from shame. Beneath silence may be the need to avoid humiliation. Beneath self-criticism may be the need to improve, to be accepted, to avoid rejection before it happens. The old method may no longer serve you, but the need beneath it still deserves tenderness. I can honor the need beneath the pattern while choosing a healthier way to meet it. So instead of saying, "I hate that I people please," you may say, "I understand that I wanted to be loved, and now I am learning to be loved without betraying myself." Instead of saying, "I hate that I control everything," you may say, "I understand that I wanted to feel safe, and now I am learning to trust, breathe, and regulate myself." Instead of saying, "I hate that I criticize myself," you may say, "I understand that I wanted to improve, and now I am learning encouragement." This is not weakness. This is emotional maturity. I release old patterns with compassion and choose healthier ways to meet my needs. Think of an old pattern like an outdated coat. At one time, it kept you warm. It helped you get through a winter of life. But now you are in a new season, and the coat is too heavy. You do not have to hate the coat. You can thank it and take it off. You can say, "You helped me once, but I do not need to wear you forever." This is how healing feels when it is guided by love. You are not tearing yourself apart. You are updating your way of living. I thank the old protection, and I choose a new freedom. Now, my dear, we must speak about the mind, because the mind is a system we must learn how to use. I have often compared it to learning a computer. At first, it can feel frustrating. You press the wrong button. You lose something. You become impatient. You may even cry or become angry. But the computer is still sitting there, waiting for you to learn how it works. The mind is similar. If you keep entering criticism, the mind returns tension. If you keep entering fear, the mind returns defensive reactions. If you keep entering shame, the mind returns contraction. If you begin entering love, self-approval, patience, and new beliefs, the mind gradually begins to return softness, confidence, and possibility. I choose what I feed my mind because my thoughts create my inner world. There is a simple principle: garbage in, garbage out. If every morning you feed the mind, "I am not enough. I hate myself. I cannot do anything right. Nothing ever works for me. I am too late. I am too much. I am not lovable," the mind will not create peace from those instructions. It will create emotions and behaviors that match the old program. It may create anxiety, shrinking, avoidance, resentment, exhaustion, or hopelessness. Not because you are bad, but because the mind follows repetition. The thoughts I repeat become the atmosphere I live inside. But if you begin to feed the mind different thoughts, new pathways begin to form, not in one magical second, but through repetition. I approve of myself. I am willing to learn. I am safe to be me. I choose loving thoughts. I can begin again. At first, the old mind may argue. It may say, no, this is not true. That is all right. You are not trying to win an argument with every old thought. You are practicing a new direction. You are choosing again, one thought at a time. I do not have to control every thought. I simply return to love, again and again. Imagine walking through a field every day on the same path. Over time, the path becomes clear because your feet have repeated it. Thoughts are like that. If you have walked the path of self-rejection for years, it may feel automatic, but you can begin walking a new path. At first, the grass is high. It may feel awkward. It may seem slower, but each time you choose a kinder thought, you step on the new path again. Eventually, the new path becomes easier. This is how the mind changes. This is how self-approval becomes familiar. Every loving thought is a step on the new path of my life. And now, because love must become practical, let us speak of 3 actions you can take to live more truly as yourself beginning today. The first is healthy boundaries. Boundaries are not coldness. Boundaries are not punishment. Boundaries are not walls built from bitterness. A boundary is a loving truth that says, my energy matters too. A boundary says, I can love you, and I can also honor myself. A boundary says, I do not need to abandon my needs in order to keep connection. Every boundary is a declaration. I decide to be me. Practice saying no to what drains you. Practice not explaining yourself for 20 minutes when one honest sentence is enough. Practice not agreeing just because you are afraid someone may be disappointed. Practice leaving environments where you must become fake in order to be accepted. Perhaps your boundary is, I cannot talk about this right now. Perhaps it is, that does not work for me. Perhaps it is, I need time to think. Perhaps it is simply not replying immediately from panic. Boundaries become the way you protect the real self that is trying to emerge. I can be kind and still be clear. The second practice is an evening self-recognition journal. Many people end the day by reviewing only their mistakes. They lie in bed and think, I should have done more. I should have said it better. I should have been different. And then they wonder why self-approval feels impossible. You must teach the mind to see evidence of growth. Each evening, write 3 things. 1 thing you did well, 1 moment you were kind, 1 time you chose yourself. It may be small, very small. I drank water. I paused before reacting. I told the truth. I rested when I was tired. I did not chase. I finished 1 task. I trained my mind to notice my progress. Ask yourself, where was I proud of myself today? And where did I live a little more honestly today? These questions do not make you arrogant. They make you awake to your own becoming. Self-approval is built from small, true evidence. If you never notice your effort, the old belief that you are failing will continue to feel true. But when you record your small wins, your mind begins to understand, I am growing, I am changing, I am becoming someone I can trust. I build self-approval by noticing the good that is already happening in me. The third practice is receiving compliments without shrinking. This may sound simple, but for many people it is deeply healing. When someone compliments you, notice whether you immediately want to dismiss it. Oh, it was nothing. I just got lucky. I am not that good. This old thing? Anyone could have done it. We often shrink our own light because we fear making others uncomfortable. But receiving kindness is part of healing. The next time someone gives you a sincere compliment, breathe and say, "Thank you. I receive that." That is all. You do not need to explain it away. I allow myself to receive kindness without shrinking. Receiving a compliment trains the nervous system to accept good. It teaches you that you can be seen without needing to hide. It teaches the mind that light is not dangerous. You do not need to become inflated. You simply become available to appreciation. If the compliment touches a place that feels tender, place your hand on your heart later and say, "It is safe for me to receive good." This is how we practice not rejecting the very love, recognition, and kindness we say we want. I no longer dim my light to make my worth easier for others to handle. Now we come back to mirror work, because this is the center of this theme. The mirror is a sacred practice for anyone learning to be real. When you look into your own eyes, you begin to see where you still reject yourself. You may feel awkward. You may look away. You may laugh nervously. You may feel sad. None of this is failure. It simply shows you where love is needed. The more I meet myself with love, the less I need to hide from myself. Each morning or evening, stand before the mirror for 30 seconds. That is enough to begin. Look into your own eyes. Place one hand on your heart. Say slowly, "I decide to be me." Say, "I approve of myself as I am." Pause again. Say, "I love and accept myself right now." And finally, "I am safe to be seen." Do not force the feelings. Do not demand that you believe every word immediately. The practice is not about instant perfection. It is about returning. You return today. You return tomorrow. You return again until your own eyes begin to feel like home. I practice loving myself until it becomes natural to stay. The mirror may reveal the inner child who still wants approval. It may reveal the teenager who learned to hide. It may reveal the adult who is tired of performing. Speak to all of them with tenderness. Say, "You do not have to be perfect to stay with me." Say, "I am not leaving you because you are still healing." Say, "We are learning how to be real." This is how you become your own ally, not by never struggling, but by refusing to abandon yourself in the struggle. I become the friend to myself that I once waited for. Now, as you move into life more honestly, remember that being yourself does not mean everyone will understand you. Some people knew the masked version. They may be confused when you begin setting boundaries, telling the truth, receiving compliments, saying no, resting, creating, or no longer apologizing for existing. That is all right. Your job is not to keep everyone comfortable with your growth. Your job is to grow with love. I can let people adjust to my authenticity without shrinking back into the old mask. If you have spent years people-pleasing, the first boundary may feel frightening. If you have spent years criticizing yourself, the first self-approval journal may feel strange. If you have spent years dismissing compliments, receiving one may feel awkward. If you have spent years avoiding the mirror, looking into your own eyes may feel tender. This is normal. New freedom often feels unfamiliar before it feels safe. I can feel uncomfortable and still be moving toward myself. So today, begin simply. Choose one boundary. Choose one kind thought. Choose one moment of honesty. Choose one compliment to receive. Choose one mirror sentence. Do not try to transform your whole life in a single day. Healing loves consistency. The real self returns through many small permissions. I do not need a dramatic life change to begin being true. I need one honest choice. And if an old pattern returns, do not use it as proof that you are failing. Use it as an invitation. Say, this is the old way I tried to stay safe. Then ask, what do I need underneath this? Safety, love, rest, recognition, protection, belonging? Then choose a healthier way to meet that need. This is how you become free without hating the version of you that survived. I bless the old survival pattern, and I choose a new loving response. My dear, before we close this time together, I want you to place one hand on your heart and ask yourself honestly, where have I been hiding the real me? Where have I been shrinking, pleasing, pretending, or apologizing for being human? And what would change in my life if, today, I finally gave myself permission to be real? You do not need to answer perfectly. Just listen. Perhaps there is one old pattern you are ready to release. Perhaps it is self-criticism. Perhaps it is people-pleasing. Perhaps it is comparison, shame, fear of judgment, or the habit of hiding your true feelings. Whatever it is, do not attack it. Understand it. Thank it for trying to protect you. Then say gently, I am ready to choose a healthier way. So I want to ask you, what part of yourself are you ready to stop rejecting? What truth are you ready to honor? What boundary are you ready to set? What kind word are you ready to speak to yourself in the mirror tonight? And if you could say one loving sentence to the real you, what would it be? Now I invite you to make this decision real. If your heart says yes, write in the comments, I decide to be me. Let that be your declaration. And if you wish, add what you are ready to release: self-criticism, people-pleasing, old patterns, shame, comparison, fear of judgment, hiding, or self-rejection. When you write it, you are not only speaking to the video, you are speaking to your own subconscious mind. You are saying, I am done asking permission to exist. I decide to be me, and I return to the truth of who I am. My dear, you do not need permission to be yourself. You do not need to wait until you are perfect, approved, healed, successful, beautiful, calm, or understood. You can decide today. You can say, I decide to be me. You can say, I approve of myself as I am. You can say, I love and accept myself right now. And from this love, not from pressure, not from shame, not from performance, the best within you begins to rise. The real you does not need to be forced. The real you needs permission, kindness, truth, and a safe place to bloom. I decide to be me. I approve of myself as I am. And from this love, I allow the best within me to rise. All is well. You are allowed to be you